Hi, my name is Elias Mokole, and welcome to Developing Your Authentic Voice. I've been a voice teacher and a singer for a number of years, and I'm hoping that the things that I offer to you today you'll find useful. One of the things I'd like to talk about today is what I have called an anatomy of a vocalization. We vocalize all the time, either solo or in ensembles. They're called warm-ups, essentially. That's another word that's been used. I think one of the most important things to do is to define why you're doing it. So therefore, you don't do it mindlessly without realizing what your target is, what target behavior you're trying to isolate. And I've outlined three essential parts. It can be more, but these are three of them. If you're going to do a vocalization, you probably need to know what vowel you're singing, what pitch range you're singing, which means whether it's on one note or 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, or the very famous 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the last aspect that's important to think about is tempo, how fast or slow you'll be doing the vocalization. So these are basic recipe parts that you can use to construct your own vocalization depending upon what you're trying to target. One that I've worked on a lot in my life is the 5-note pure vowel exercise. And its objective is to talk about the sustained diaphragmatic breathing and to work on legato smooth connections between vowels, paying attention to the articulators, lips, tongue, teeth, jaw. So those are your objectives. I would say breath is generally a good objective to have as one of your objectives whenever you're doing a vocalization, since it's such an important component. The vowels for this particular exercise are all 5 of the pure vowels, because you're working on how you're forming them with the least amount of articulator action between them. E, A, A, O, and U. The pitch range is one single note. So therefore, you're not worried about going up and down and lots of pitches. You're concentrating on one note so you can focus on the main objectives. Generally, for vocalizations, we go chromatically, either up or down by half steps. The reason for that is if you're trying to figure out how much breath pressure to use when you're in a particular range, it's easier to do it in smaller increments. And we'll talk more about that in another session. And tempo. I wrote lento, which is a musical term. It means slow. Generally, exercises that are working on breath, sustained breath use, slow, it's better to go slow. And sometimes it's hard because you want to go fast if you're not sure of something. But it's a good way to practice that. So I'll demonstrate this exercise for you. So I'm going to pick this pitch. It's in the middle of my voice. Let me get my pitch device. That's a C3. So I'm going to do it on one note, and I'm going to go slow, and I'm going to think about my articulators. Generally, I do about 4 or 5, and then I move to different parts of my voice. One of the greatest voice teachers I had, her name was Margaret Harshaw, she told me when I first got this exercise that if you can do this in any part of your voice, you can sing almost any repertoire. I have found it to be true because it helps you practice how much breath pressure and how little you need to activate the articulators. Now, you may have noticed when you listen to me do that exercise that I add a little ya sometimes between the vowels. That's That's okay to do. It helps smooth it out, and then I try not to do it, but it helps me connect. That's called a glide, a semivowel, and it glides from one vowel to the next, like in the word yes. If you think of that word yes, it's really an E vowel with, a glide. Yes. Anyway, just some fun stuff to think about. Say, for example, you want to apply the same concept of that previous vocalization to a song you're working on, in English or in another language. I chose Italian here because it uses the 5 pure vowels. It also uses something called the International Phonetic Alphabet, which is quite helpful. But if you look at the Italian words, you'll see lasciatemi morire, right here, lasciatemi morire. Underneath that, you'll see the IPA symbols, which are the 5 vowels, the same symbols I was using for the vowels E, A, A, O, U. So instead of doing E, A, A, O, U, I'm going to do the vowels of the song. So instead of, I'm going to sing A, E, O, E, I'll do it again. Now I might then try to drop the consonants in just before to keep that still that connection, but just slip those consonants in. Lasciatemi morire. The next line, if I was just going to do vowels, e che volete. Actually, I didn't do the vowels because I know the words so well, I automatically slipped in the consonants without thinking about it. Let's go down to this line and just do vowels. This time I'll only do vowels. E, che mi conforte. Most of the symbols in the IPA are pretty easy to use once you know what they stand for, but you learn them a little bit at a time. The apostrophe tells you in a multisyllable word which word gets the stress or the length. In this particular case, it's the second syllable. So it's lasciatemi instead of lasciatemi. And in the next word, it's also the second. Morire. So that's helpful to know. And it remains consistent in this phonetic alphabet. So that's kind of helpful and a way to vary the 5-note pure exercise. One of the other good things about this is it helps you isolate just the vowel sounds and how you're moving the articulators before you get to pitch the melody of the tune. And then you also can look and see what it means. The second line here gives you a literal word-for-word translation. Let you me die. Well, we don't really say that. So this one puts it back in the right order. Let me die. Lasciatemi morire. You get the idea. It's fun. It's fun to sing in another language, I think. The second and final exercise is the great or grand scale. This is the long tone scale, and its objectives really emphasize sustained diaphragmatic breathing, knowing when to exercise more pressure as you go up in your register. That's kind of tricky, and it's good to practice that when it's slow. So this particular pitch range is an octave, but you get to breathe in the center. So the pitch, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathe, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? And the tempo, you guessed it, it's slow. And the vowel is ah, as in father. Also an IPA sound, and the same one that we've done in all the other exercises that we've done so far. So I'll demonstrate this exercise. So I'm going to start on a D3, and that will take me from a D3 to a D4. So I'm going to get a big slow breath. Let me move this down so you can maybe see a little more of my body. You can go up or down in half steps. This one is recommended that you do it in not the extremes of your range. Once you figure out what a comfortable range is for you, that you don't do it in the highest part of your range and the lowest part of your range. You start in the middle and work up in half steps both ways. So this is a very useful exercise to keep you really honest about how you're using your breath. And it's a very vulnerable exercise. And it's not an easy one. And it always kicks my butt. No matter how many times I do it, it's a great exercise. It keeps you on the straight and narrow, like eating your Wheaties for any of you who know that analogy. Well, I hope this has been useful for you. This has been Developing Your Authentic Voice with Elias Mokole. If any of this information is useful, please feel free to view other items on the playlist and join the Rainbow channel. And I have a website now, which is www.dyav.com. The letters of Developing Your Authentic Voice with Elias.com. Thank you very much, and I'll look forward to our next time together. Bye.